You don't lose because you lack motivation. You lose because you live without rules. Discipline isn't a feeling, it's a structure you obey even when you don't want to. Most men fail for the same reason. They believe in Reset Monday. They believe in the fantasy of a clean restart. They burn down their progress, promise a fresh start, and call it growth. That's the core trap. Reset Monday. Clean restart addiction. You mess up on Tuesday, then tell yourself you'll start over next week. You miss one workout, then declare the entire month ruined. You eat one bad meal, then decide the day is lost. Not discipline, self-deception. Disciplined men don't reset, they re-enter immediately, without drama, without negotiation. The difference between losers and disciplined men isn't talent. It isn't genetics, it isn't luck, it's standards. Losers operate on mood. Disciplined men operate on rules. A loser asks, "Do I feel like it today?" A disciplined man asks, "What is the minimum I must execute today?" You don't need a perfect plan. You need one non-negotiable rule. When you break your routine, you don't wait. You re-enter within 24 hours. No emotional processing, no punishment spiral, no Reset Monday ritual. Miss a day? You're back tomorrow, not next week. Not when you feel ready. Tomorrow. That single rule alone will outperform years of motivational hype. But rules only work if your environment supports them. If quitting is easy, you will quit. If comfort is convenient, you will choose comfort. Disciplined men design environments where quitting feels inconvenient. Your shoes should already be at the door. Your workout space should already be ready. Your phone should not be the first object you touch in the morning. Make laziness expensive. Make discipline easy. If junk food is within arm's reach, you will eat it. If your bed is the warmest place in the house, you will stay in it. If your progress tracking is invisible, your effort will vanish. Environment isn't motivation, it's enforcement. And enforcement needs proof, not feelings, not intentions, proof. That's where the tracking grid comes in. A disciplined man doesn't trust his memory. He tracks reality. 30 days, one grid, one box per day. You don't erase the grid if you fail. You don't restart the month. You don't pretend the mistake didn't happen. You mark the miss. You keep the streak broken. You continue anyway. The grid survives failure. That's the point. Losers need a perfect streak. Disciplined men need a visible record of effort. The grid shows you who you really are, not who you claim to be. And the grid only works if you commit to a minimum standard. Minimum standard means the smallest mandatory action you are never allowed to skip. Not your best day. Not your ideal workout. Not your full routine, the bare minimum that still counts as showing up. 5 push-ups, 10 minutes of work, 1 page read, 1 lap around the block. It should feel almost too easy, because it isn't there to impress you. It's there to keep the chain alive. You don't rise to motivation. You fall to your minimum standard. So make it unskippable. Here's what disciplined execution looks like in real life. It's 8:40 p.m. You don't feel like training. You already told yourself the day was long. You want to sit down and scroll. Instead, you follow the sequence. Set a 10-minute timer. Do 20 push-ups. Do 15 squats. Hold a plank for 60 seconds. Repeat once. 10 minutes. 1 round. No debate. That's not motivation. That's compliance. You don't wait for energy. You create momentum through action. The difference between disciplined men and everyone else is what happens after failure. Losers spiral, they binge, they procrastinate, they vanish. Disciplined men execute a failure protocol. Open the grid, set a timer, do the minimum standard, prep one environment trigger for tomorrow. Mark the box. No emotions, no speeches, no guilt monologues. Action, execution, proof. You don't get credit for feeling bad. You get credit for showing up again. Reset Monday tells you to erase the past. Discipline forces you to face it. Reset culture tells you to start over. Discipline tells you to continue forward with the damage visible. That's why most men quit. They want a clean identity. They don't want a messy record, but progress is messy. Real discipline looks imperfect. Real effort leaves evidence of failure. If you can't tolerate seeing missed days on your grid, you don't want growth. You want a fantasy. Disciplined men don't protect their ego. They protect their systems. You don't need more inspiration. You need more enforcement. You don't need another motivational video. You need a rule that forces re-entry. You don't need a new identity. You need a minimum standard you can execute on your worst day. The man who wins isn't the one who feels unstoppable. It's the one who shows up when he feels weak, tired, bored, and unmotivated. Not hype, not hope, not excuses. Systems, standards, execution. You either build a structure that runs your behavior, or your impulses will run your life. Every day, you are voting for one of two identities. The man who resets or the man who continues. No resets. No fresh starts. No fantasy timelines. Just today's box on the grid. Just today's minimum standard. Just today's execution. Comment done plus your minimum standard. Subscribe if you want a system you can run daily. No reset.